Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you. I'm going to do some box office reporting and check out how the releases are doing in terms of the US box office. Now of course this will primarily concern Eternals, Marvel's latest superhero adventure, of which there's been so much talk and debate about. Now the 26th entry within the Marvel Cinematic Universe overall grossed 28 million in its second weekend in US cinemas. Now this was a drop of around 61% from its opening weekend total of 71 million. Now overall it's managed to gross 118.8 million at the US box office, and globally it currently stands at 281.4 million. Now of course the film's detractors, and indeed any detractors of the MCU, are going to jump on it straight away, as I predicted in my first video surrounding the Eternals. To be fair, a drop of 61% isn't impressive by any means, of course, but that's the general rule of thumb. When you get a big blockbuster, it will drop at around 60% in its second weekend. But of course, surrounding all of the various narratives around Eternals, many people will indeed now jump to the conclusion that Eternals is indeed confirmed as the first flop within the MCU. Now I'm not going to reach that conclusion yet. I still think we need to wait and see how it does over the third and fourth weekend. I'm looking at it more from the global total of 281.4 million. I think that's very good for the Eternals so far. I predicted in many videos that if the film made 300 million or less, then I would constitute that a flop. So it's clearly going to get over 300 million. I would say it'll probably even get maybe over 400 million if you consider it's going to be on release for at least the next 3 to 4 or 5 weeks. Now it's probably going to have to perform and hold very well overseas if it wants to get 400 million or over that. So it is currently lagging behind Shang-Chi in terms of the US performance. So how it maintains itself internationally will be important. But at this moment in time, I'm not deeming the film a flop yet. I still maintain if we were in a normal state of affairs and had the film managed to garner a release in China, it probably would have got anywhere from around 500 to 650 worldwide, which would have been right around the ballpark of a new entry within the MCU, dealing with characters that are largely unknown in terms of the general audience and also fans of the comic books as well. Anything over 400 million I think is somewhat respectable to a degree, considering the current climate that we are in. But we will wait and see how the film performs in the next upcoming weeks. Now in other updates, there was some great news for James Bond's No Time to Die. It has managed to now gross over 780 million worldwide at the box office, and it will shortly become the highest grossing film of 2021, overtaking Fast 9's total of 721 million. Now it probably won't hold that position for long given the pending release of Spider-Man No Way Home. That movie itself is deemed as the only film throughout 2021 with any chance of hitting $1 billion at the box office. But despite this, it majorly underlines again the true appeal of James Bond, particularly from an overseas point of view. Now in any other situation, 708 million would be probably right on par in terms of a successful James Bond movie, but of course we have to factor in the huge budget of at least 250 to 300 million, and of course all of the various add-on costs in terms of the film being delayed due to COVID, and the fact that it had a very expansive shooting across multiple locations across the world. So even at this stage, it still isn't likely to make any kind of break even or profit, which is still staggering, to be honest with you. And surely they will hopefully learn from this, and hopefully the next installment that we get within the franchise will be far more scaled down in terms of its cost. I've mentioned previously, a James Bond movie really doesn't need to be costing 200 million. You can easily make a very competent and very exciting and compelling James Bond film, I would say at the most 150 million, no more than that, because you're not dealing with any kind of CGI or special effects. But overall, 708 million is great, and I think it further establishes that James Bond isn't going stale. He's not going anywhere time soon, and he still remains one of the most prolific and prominent box office franchises still around today. We look at other performers that have done well, and Venom Let There Be Carnage has managed to gross over 440 million worldwide as well. So again, very good performance for the sequel. It's open in most territories now, so I guess the only lingering debate is, if it did manage to get a China release, how close would it get to the first film, which managed to gross over 850 million at the box office. Now if we were in normal times and it got a China release, I don't think it would get or even surpass the original, but certainly would be looking at close to maybe 600 million worldwide. So this is great news for Sony, and once again will bolster their confidence of their Sony universe, concentrating on Spider-Man's villains. We have, of course, got Morbius coming out early next year, and Kraven the Hunter is also in the pipeline as well. And of course, if we see any implications of Spider-Man No Way Home, I firmly believe that will end up resulting in Sony taking back the character, or indeed the Peter Parker version of the character, and that will lead them then to venture on with their own particular Spider-Man verse, when they can have the character mix in with Venom and all of the other classic villains. So very good news for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And just lastly, just to talk about June, it managed to now gross over 300 million worldwide at the box office. I think that's a decent take, given the fact that of course we're streaming on HBO Max at the same time. Once again, it highlights the huge failure in releasing movies such as Dune simultaneously on streaming. We can only really speculate how much more it would have made had it been a theatrical release only. My guess, it may have hit maybe between 400 and 500 million worldwide, which would have been quite a good performance for a niche sci-fi concept in terms of Dune. But maybe this latest total may indeed encourage Warner Brothers even more so in any future sequels. I'm still of the belief that a Dune 2 will end up on streaming rather than cinema. So that's it really in terms of the main performers that I seem to be quite important in terms of the overall box office. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you think about the performance of Eternals? Do you think it is indeed now a flop, or do you think we should wait for the third and fourth weekends before we can really confirm as to its overall performance at the box office? How further do you think No Time to Die? Do you think it will get 800 million? Do you think even it can get even higher than 800 million? And really set the stage to see how well Spider-Man No Way Home can perform when it's overall released. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.